Do you hear that? Lawnmowers. It's the sound of Ohio. For those of you who have been on the newsletter list, you know that I have made this journey from California, where I was working with Westmont College, all the way over to Ohio, and that's where I am now, the state of lawnmowers, and they're in the background. They may come closer and I may have to stop talking, but that's the way that it is. Welcome to Ohio. Today, I just want to get right into it because I've got a lot to say and I'm not sure I'm going to have the time to say it. The question I want you to ask is, what is the issue for Dallas? He's going to have a lot to say about what the issue is for the theological right, but I want you to have in the back of your mind what the issue is for Dallas. So if necessary, stop this video. In fact, do it. Stop this video and look at this section and answer that question. What is the issue for Dallas? Hey everybody, welcome to the Sanctus Forum. I am Michael Stewart Robb, better known as Mike, and this is Conspiracy Commentaries. I don't have a copy of the book, so I am reading the PDF version of The Divine Conspiracy, section by section. Means right now we are in But Is That the Issue? And I'm assuming that I'm talking to people who have actually been following along in the past episodes of Conspiracy Commentaries, because otherwise this isn't going to make a whole lot of sense. This is a very important section for Dallas Willard. However, it's not very well structured. So there's a lot of important theology here, but it's probably not Dallas at his best in explaining things. It seems like was written pretty quickly. He gets his point across, but not very elegantly. I'm here to help, but I've just got a lot to say. I want to go back to those three theological points that have been showing up in all of these videos. And the first is, what kind of salvation? Second, what kind of faith? And third, what kind of future? Now these are things which Dallas Willard for himself, as well as the theological right, is trying to answer. They are important theological questions, so you gotta have an answer for them. Now, some of them are fairly easy. If you look at the section, you won't need a whole lot of my help to answer them. What kind of future for the theological right? Well, it's eternal destiny, whether you go to heaven or hell, and preferably heaven. The second thing, also not so difficult to answer, though this is interesting. Dallas doesn't feature it a whole lot in this section, though he calls it out. He says, on what it is for faith to be saving faith. He says this is a matter on which Charles Ryrie and John MacArthur agree, as well as a whole swath of people who are on the theological right, including Billy Graham. What is it for saving faith to be saving? And the answer is some kind of barcode faith. And I've already done some videos on that. Go back and check those out. But barcode faith is how faith actually saves. And the difference here between the Ryrie people and the John MacArthur people is what kind of needs to appear in that barcode in order for it to function according to the way that God has set it up for it to function. That's the only issue. But barcode faith, that's the way it works. Now, Dallas's whole point with this section is to show that the theological right, although there are internal disagreements, is on the whole on the same page about salvation and about faith and about the future of salvation. Now, the point that I really want to help you all with, hopefully, is this question of what kind of salvation. It is a little tricky on the theological right, although if you have been in these churches enough, it will be fairly familiar to you. But Dallas's presentation of it isn't terribly straightforward, and it's not quite clear why he's calling attention to this, again, unless you actually understand what he thinks the issue is. Salvation for the theological right. It's a matter of lacking merit or having an abundance of demerit, and that is what keeps you out of heaven. One way of distinguishing this from Dallas Willard's view is to say that perhaps that's not the worst thing that could happen to you. And in a sense, that's what all of these versions of salvation are trying to do. They're trying to solve the biggest problem of humanity. And Dallas is doing the exact same thing. He's trying to go down to the core, to the very bottom, and saying, this is the issue. This is the problem of human existence. And here's how God, here's how Jesus rectifies that problem. So lacking merit and being kept out of heaven might not be the most troubling thing about your existence. Now, how does it work? Well, you have this sort of transferred merit system. That's one way of, he puts it here on the first page for me. Where is it? Forgiveness of sins because of transferred merit. Fairly familiar if you are in these churches. Another way that he puts it is being saved is a forensic or legal condition. Okay? And you are declared to be in this condition by God. Which means, another way of putting that is, you wouldn't be able to figure it out by any kind of empirical or even non-empirical discovery. It's something that you would only know if God told you. It was in his mind, or you were there when he said it in his throne room or something like that. You had some way of figuring it out, but you couldn't figure it out if God didn't tell you. Okay? That's what that means. Declared means God spoke it. And as many of you will know, this isn't the only way of dealing with the problem of a lack of merit and being kept out of heaven. There have been other solutions in Christian history, and this is a bit of the issue surrounding the Reformation. And there are people that we should respect who have some degree of interest in merit and think that maybe there is some way that we can get that merit without it being given to us. And one final thing about this salvation that Dallas is describing, something that it's not. He says that it is not a vital reality or character. So, I mean, that's kind of the opposite of it being a declaration of God. It means it's something that you can't discover. A vital reality or character, not really something that changes about the person. Okay, so have you gotten all of that? That's what salvation is for MacArthur, Ryrie, and a whole host of people on the theological left, including, I think, the great preacher Billy Graham. Now, for Dallas, that's not the issue, and I hope what I'm about to say is going to be completely obvious to you, but for me, what Dallas is saying the issue is regarding salvation, page 47, having life from the kingdom of the heavens now. That's it. That's what salvation is. You have that, and you're saved, and you don't have it, and you're not saved. And the problem with humanity is a lot of us don't have it. And some of us have gotten it by God's grace, and that means that we're saved. Interestingly, for Dallas, this is also the target or the future. You are saved because you have now entered into life in the kingdom of the heavens now. Now, Dallas Willard has probably about 12 ways of saying this exact same thing, and if you read the Divine Conspiracy carefully, you'll find a lot of them. There's even a few of them in this section as well. For example, intimate involvement of God in human life, and the opposite being alienation from it. That's one right there. Another one that I've mentioned way back in a previous episode is regeneration. Dallas's view is that the issue in salvation is regeneration, or not being regenerated. Well, that's what I've got for you today. I hope that I got that out in a good amount of time. Hope it didn't run over, but thanks for watching, and thanks for signing up for that almost monthly newsletter and keeping up with what I'm doing outside of these little videos, and for praying for me and for Sanctus, which I'm a part of, and everybody that's involved in that. So I will see you next time. Sorry for the earthquake. Bye.